Every word you speak is like a stone cast into the great ocean of life, creating ripples that return to you in waves. Words are not idle expressions, they are seeds, and the soil of the universe never fails to bring forth what is planted. When you declare something, you give it life. If you continually speak about lack, misfortune, or struggle, you reinforce those very conditions in your experience. If you declare abundance, opportunity, and well-being, you set in motion a chain of events that aligns with those truths. This is why it is vital to speak consciously. Your tongue can be the architect of your dreams or the hammer that dismantles them. Many people unknowingly sabotage their own path by careless speech, complaining, doubting aloud, or criticizing themselves and others. The words feel harmless in the moment, but they carry power beyond measure. Speaking in harmony with your desires is a discipline. Even when circumstances seem contrary, your words should declare the vision you hold, not the condition you fear. To say, "I am healthy," when feeling ill, or "I am prospering," when facing a bill, is not delusion. It is the conscious choice to speak the language of creation rather than the language of defeat. Life responds to your declarations, and when you align your speech with your vision, the external world begins to shift to match it. Your imagination is the workshop of your destiny. Whatever you vividly hold in your mind, with emotion and belief, begins to take shape in the unseen realm long before it appears in your physical life. Many dismiss imagination as child's play, but in truth, it is the architect's blueprint of your future. Everything that exists, every invention, every building, every song, was once an image in someone's mind. The same is true for your life's circumstances. If you habitually picture failure, rejection, or hardship, you are drawing a map toward those destinations. If you envision success, loving relationships, and vibrant health, you are programming your inner compass toward those outcomes. This is why you must guard your imagination as carefully as you guard your treasures. Do not let fear paint its pictures there. Replace unwanted images with visions of what you truly wish to experience. If you want financial freedom, see yourself living it. Feel the ease, the joy, the security of it now. If you want harmony in relationships, imagine peaceful and loving interactions. The more vividly and consistently you hold these images, the more magnetic they become. Your outer life will eventually mirror your inner film. The power lies not just in imagining, but in believing that your vision is possible and already forming, even when there is no outward evidence yet. Faith is the masterstroke in the game of life. It is the unwavering trust that what you have asked for, believed in, and visualized is already yours, even when all appearances seem to shout the opposite. Faith is not passive, it is active expectation. It is holding steady when storms rise, knowing they are temporary and that the outcome is already secured in your favor. Without faith, your thoughts and words lose their power, because doubt interrupts the flow of creation. Faith keeps the channels open between your desire and its manifestation. It allows you to step forward without seeing the full staircase, trusting that each step will appear as needed. The person of faith does not panic when delays arise, because they understand there is no such thing as a delay, only perfect timing. Sometimes the answer is already in motion, but unseen forces are arranging it for your highest good. Faith transforms obstacles into opportunities and tests into triumphs. It is the inner knowing that regardless of the scoreboard in front of you, the victory is already written. Fear is the most cunning opponent in the game of life. It disguises itself as caution, as reason, as practicality, yet its true purpose is to keep you frozen in place, afraid to take the next move. Fear clouds judgment, dims vision, and shrinks your playing field until life feels like a corner you cannot escape. But fear loses its power the moment you choose action. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is the decision to move in spite of it. Every time you act on faith instead of fear, you weaken fear's hold and strengthen your own momentum. Life opens up in direct proportion to the boldness of your steps. Those who succeed in this game are not those who never feel fear, but those who refuse to be ruled by it. They recognize that fear is merely the shadow of doubt, and shadows vanish when light is present. The light is your belief, your determination, your trust that you are backed by something greater than yourself. The path ahead may not always be visible, but as you step forward, the road reveals itself, and the very obstacles that once seemed insurmountable become stepping stones toward your next victory. Love and goodwill are the ultimate power moves in life's game. The law is simple: what you send out comes back multiplied. If you send out jealousy, resentment, or ill will, that energy will circle back to you in kind. But if you send out kindness, blessings, and encouragement, the return is multiplied abundance and joy. In this game, helping another player win does not lessen your victory, it amplifies it. Life is not a race against others. It is a field where every act of goodwill strengthens your own position. When you celebrate another's success as if it were your own, you align yourself with the vibration of success, and it flows more easily into your life. When you forgive, you free yourself as much as the other. Love is not weakness. It is the most powerful strategy, because it aligns you with the highest laws of the universe. A heart that overflows with goodwill cannot be held back, because it operates on the frequency where blessings are born. Every time you bless another person's path, you pave a smoother road for yourself. Every time you give without expectation, you plant seeds in the soil of destiny that will bloom at just the right moment. And when you live in love, you will find that you are not merely playing the game. You are mastering it. Your imagination is far more than a place where idle daydreams pass by. It is the very workshop where your future is built. Everything that exists in your life right now once began as a thought, whether consciously designed or unconsciously allowed. The home you live in, the clothes you wear, the job you hold, even the people you have attracted, all of these were shaped by the mental pictures you have consistently carried within. Imagination is the architect's table of destiny, and every mental image you hold with feeling becomes a blueprint for reality to follow. The mind does not distinguish between a picture seen with the eyes and one seen with the inner vision. It accepts both as truth and works to manifest them in your outer world. This is why what you allow to play on the screen of your mind is of the utmost importance. When you picture success, seeing yourself walking into the office confidently, signing the deal, hearing the applause, feeling the joy, you are rehearsing your victory in the most potent arena of creation. The more detail you pour into that inner scene, the stronger its magnetism becomes. On the other hand, if you repeatedly imagine failure, rejection, loss, or embarrassment, you are quietly giving instructions to life to deliver those very experiences. Many people unknowingly sabotage their goals by allowing fear to direct their imagination. They rehearse worst-case scenarios in their minds until those visions harden into beliefs, and beliefs inevitably become reality. The key is to guard your imagination as a sacred space, a temple where only the images you truly desire are allowed to live. If a picture of failure or harm appears, replace it immediately with the vision of your desired outcome. Do not dwell on what you fear. Instead, dwell on what you want as though it is already here. This is not wishful thinking. It is spiritual law in motion. The energy you pour into these inner pictures determines how quickly and smoothly they will manifest in the physical world. You must also imagine with feeling. A dry mental image is like a blueprint rolled up in a drawer. It has no force until it is infused with emotion. If you want wealth, imagine yourself already in possession of it. Feel the security, the ease, the joy of having all that you need. If you desire health, picture yourself vibrant and strong. Hear the laughter in your voice, feel the strength in your steps. Your imagination should be so vivid that your subconscious mind cannot tell whether it is memory or vision. That is when it begins to work for you relentlessly, attracting people, opportunities, and circumstances that match your vision. Consistency is essential. A single burst of inspired imagery followed by days of doubt will yield scattered results. The most successful creators are those who hold their mental picture with faith, unshaken by temporary appearances. Even when the outer world seems to contradict your vision, you persist in seeing it as you desire it to be. In time, the outer must match the inner, for that is the law. Your imagination is your personal theater of creation, and you are both the director and the star. What you allow to play there writes the script of your life. Choose the story carefully, act it out in your mind daily, and let the feelings of that imagined victory take root. In doing so, you align yourself with the unseen forces that shape all reality, and you make it inevitable that your life will mirror the beauty, success, and joy you have rehearsed within. Faith is the unseen bridge between where you are and where you want to be. It is the invisible thread connecting the vision in your mind to the reality in your hands. Without faith, even the clearest goals and the most vivid imagination remain suspended in possibility, never crossing into tangible experience. Faith is not merely hoping something will happen. It is knowing, deep within, that it is already done, even if your outer circumstances seem to say otherwise. It is the quiet confidence that the seed you have planted will sprout in its perfect time, even when the soil above it appears undisturbed. Faith is the force that holds you steady when life's winds try to shake your resolve. It is easy to believe when the evidence is visible, when results are flowing, and when the path is smooth. But faith shows its true strength in the unseen seasons. Those moments when nothing seems to be moving. When the bank account is low, when the phone is silent, When the door you thought would open has just closed. In those moments, fear whispers, "It's not working." But faith answers, "It's already on its way." This unwavering belief keeps you aligned with your desired outcome, long enough for it to manifest. True faith requires letting go of the need to control the how and when. Many people lose their manifestation, not because they doubted the goal itself, but because they doubted the process. They try to dictate the exact path their desire must take to reach them. And when it doesn't arrive through that route, they assume it isn't coming at all. Faith trusts the infinite intelligence of the universe to arrange the perfect sequence of events. It understands that there are countless ways for a blessing to reach you, and the path chosen is always the one that serves your highest good. There will be moments when your faith will be tested. This is not punishment, it is preparation. A muscle grows stronger when it is resisted, and the same is true of faith. Delays and detours are opportunities to deepen your trust, to prove that your belief is not dependent on evidence. Many breakthroughs happen in the moment, just after someone chooses to hold their faith one more day, one more hour, one more breath longer than they felt they could. The test ends the moment you refuse to surrender your vision. Faith is also a shield against the influence of other people's doubt. There will always be voices, sometimes from friends or family, warning you to be realistic, to lower your expectations, or to settle for less. They may mean well, but their vision is not yours to live. Faith allows you to listen without absorbing their fear, to stand firm in your knowing even when surrounded by disbelief. It keeps your energy clear and your focus sharp, like a sailor steering by the stars in a storm. One of the most powerful expressions of faith is gratitude before the blessing arrives. When you can give thanks for something you have not yet seen, you declare to the universe that you trust it is already done. Gratitude in advance is an unshakable statement of belief, and it speeds the arrival of your desire. Imagine a farmer who plants seeds and thanks the earth for the harvest before a single sprout appears. His faith in the process is what sustains his labor until the field turns green. When you walk in faith, you stop chasing and start attracting. You stop begging for things to happen, and instead align yourself with the certainty that they will. The energy of, "It is done," is far more magnetic than the energy of, "I hope it happens." The world begins to respond differently to you. People sense your conviction, and opportunities align with uncanny precision. Faith transforms the game of life from a series of anxious moves into a graceful dance. It allows you to enjoy the journey as much as the destination, because you know the outcome is secure. And when the manifestation arrives, and it will, you will look back and see that faith was not simply a tool to get you there. It was the very force that shaped you into the person capable of receiving it. Fear is the master illusionist in the game of life. It distorts reality, shrinks possibilities, and convinces you to stay in a place far smaller than the one you were meant to occupy. It does not need to stop you completely. It only needs to slow you down long enough for doubt to take root. Fear often appears dressed in the clothing of caution, reason, or practicality, but at its core, it is simply the mind projecting an imagined failure into the future. It says, "What if it doesn't work?" When faith says, "What if it does?" Fear thrives on hesitation. Because every moment you hesitate is a moment you are not moving toward your dream. You will never find someone who has achieved something remarkable who did not meet fear along the way. But here is the truth they all eventually discover. Fear is not a signal to stop, but a signal that you are stepping into new territory. The unfamiliar always feels uncomfortable. When you set out to do something greater than what you have done before, fear will try to call you back to the safety of the known. That is its job. Your job is to decide whether you will obey it or move beyond it. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is action in spite of it. The very act of moving forward while fear is whispering in your ear is what diminishes its power. Fear loses its grip the moment you take action. Often, the thing you dread is far less threatening once you begin. You will find that fear is like a shadow. It appears large when you are far from it, but as you step toward it, it shrinks until it disappears altogether. The action you take doesn't need to be monumental. It just needs to be forward. Even a small step taken in the direction of your vision weakens fear's hold over you. Another way fear deceives you is by magnifying the risk and hiding the reward. It will replay the image of what might go wrong over and over, while making you forget the countless things that could go right. This is why you must train your mind to shift focus from the imagined failure to the imagined victory. When you do this, fear has nothing to feed on. Remember, your mind cannot fully hold two opposing pictures at the same time. If you fill it with the vision of success, there is no space left for fear to paint its dark images. Fear often disguises itself as the voice of other people's opinions. It speaks through the doubts of friends, the skepticism of colleagues, the warnings of family who want to protect you. But their fear does not have to become yours. When someone tells you something cannot be done, they are speaking from their own limitations, not yours. Your courage must be louder than their caution. You must remember that the path you are walking is yours alone, and only you can decide how far you will go. One of the most effective antidotes to fear is preparation. Fear thrives in uncertainty, so when you arm yourself with knowledge, skill, and strategy, its hold weakens. The more prepared you feel, the less room fear has to convince you that you cannot handle what lies ahead. However, do not wait for perfect readiness. Perfection is fear's favorite excuse. Act as you prepare, and prepare as you act. Faith and fear cannot occupy the same space for long. One will always push the other out. You get to choose which one will stay. Every time you choose courage, even in the smallest way, you train your mind to expect victory instead of defeat. This is how confidence is built. Not from never feeling fear, but from repeatedly proving to yourself that fear does not control you. Fearlessness is not recklessness. It is not ignoring risks. It is understanding them and moving forward anyway, because your vision matters more than your comfort zone. The most rewarding victories in life are always on the other side of discomfort. When you pass through fear, you expand not only your circumstances but also yourself. You become a larger, stronger, more capable version of who you were. And in time, you will look back and realize that fear was never the real enemy. It was only the test you had to pass to claim the next level of your life. The truth is, fear will visit you again and again as you continue to grow. But each time, you will recognize its voice sooner, stand taller, and walk past it with greater ease. And eventually, what once terrified you will seem like nothing more than a small hurdle in the grand game you are here to win. Love and goodwill are the highest strategies in the game of life, for they align you with the most powerful forces in existence. Every thought, every word, and every act carries energy, and that energy returns to you multiplied. When you choose to send out love instead of resentment, blessings instead of curses, encouragement instead of criticism, you not only uplift others, you also set in motion currents of good that inevitably circle back into your own life. This is not sentimental philosophy, it is an unbreakable law. The energy you give is the energy you live in, and whatever you live in becomes your reality. Many people make the mistake of thinking they can win by pushing others down, withholding support, or resenting someone else's success. They believe life is a race where only one can finish first. But the truth is, life's game is not one of limited prizes. There is no shortage of success, no scarcity of love, no finite supply of opportunity. When you celebrate another's victory, you are declaring to the universe that there is more than enough to go around. And in doing so, you open yourself to receive your share. Jealousy and bitterness, on the other hand, shut the door on your own blessings because they focus your attention on lack instead of abundance. Love is not just a feeling. It is a deliberate choice to see the good in others, to wish them well, and to act in ways that promote their highest good. Even in business, where competition is fierce, those who operate with genuine goodwill often find themselves forming alliances, attracting loyal clients, and receiving referrals that money alone could never buy. Why? Because people are naturally drawn to those who wish them well. Love creates trust, and trust is the foundation of lasting success in any arena. Goodwill also transforms conflict. In the game of life, disagreements and misunderstandings are inevitable. But when you approach these situations with the intention to understand, rather than to dominate, you often turn an opponent into an ally. Choosing goodwill does not mean allowing yourself to be mistreated. It means refusing to meet hostility with hostility. You can stand firm in your boundaries while still holding an intention for peace. In doing so, you shift the energy of the encounter, and often inspire the other person to soften in return. One of the most powerful expressions of love and goodwill is giving without expectation. This is not about giving recklessly or depleting yourself. It is about offering your time, resources, or encouragement with no strings attached. When you give simply for the joy of giving, you create a vacuum that the universe rushes to fill. The return may not come from the same person you helped, but it will come, often in ways you could not have predicted. Love and goodwill also extend inward. How you treat yourself sets the standard for how you treat others and how others treat you. Self-criticism, harsh judgment, and constant self-denial are forms of withholding love from yourself, and they diminish your capacity to give to others. When you speak kindly to yourself, care for your well-being, and forgive your own mistakes, you build a reservoir of love that naturally overflows into the world around you. This principle is most visible in times of challenge. When life tests you, it can be tempting to turn inward and focus solely on your own struggle. Yet some of the most profound breakthroughs come when you choose to lift someone else, even while you are climbing yourself. Helping another person during your own hardship is a declaration of faith. It says, "I have enough to give, and more is on the way." That energy magnetizes abundance to you with remarkable speed. In the grand game of life, love and goodwill are like the master key that opens every door. They dissolve resistance, build bridges where walls once stood, and create pathways for blessings to flow freely. Every act of love you send out, no matter how small, becomes a seed planted in the fertile ground of the universe, guaranteed to return to you multiplied. When you live this way, you discover that winning is no longer about defeating others. It is about creating a life so rich in joy, connection, and purpose that everyone who encounters you feels inspired to play the game better themselves. And in that moment, you will realize the greatest truth of all in the game of life. Love is not just the best way to play, it is the only way to truly win.